Meeting to order under chapter 30, section 20 of the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I have to inquire if anyone is recording this meeting. Seeing none, we are recording it and we are on Zoom. Commissioner Robinson is late. We have a quorum and can go into public comment. Seeing none, we'll have the Lewis Pond Road contract discussion with Russ Cleveland and EDI. Hello, good evening. Yes. Hello. Yeah.
Take this back if needed. Thank you for having me tonight. My name is Russ Clekamp, engineer with the company Environmental Design and Research, EDR for short. Here tonight to talk about a change order for the Lewis Pond Road project, why it came about, and what we do next moving forward. So before you, what you have is a draft change order for the sum of $8,912.50. The reason for this was for some additional paving that was required. The bid set of plans went out with a detail showing the final trench paving for the water main. After the bid time, we became aware that the town of Barnstable regulations require a half lane of road. I live in Centerville, and of course, starting to drive around to see all the half lanes of roads being paved. So I said, okay, looks like the regulation was changed, or the bylaw was changed. So with that, we can only hold the contractor to the bid price for what was bid on the plans. So this additional amount of paving, it equates to roughly 3 additional feet beyond the 4.5 feet of the existing trench. So it's really about 3 extra feet to the center line of the road in order to get us in compliance with the town of Barnstable. I do also understand, though, that $8,000 to a small department is a substantial amount of money, and I know Chris will have to move that from one place to another. So I did offer to waive the remainder of our engineering fees, which was minimal. It was less than I think less than $1,000.
Yeah.
But also offer up a pro bono design for the next 2 water mains on Truman and Eisenhower. We have the site plans developed, and we have a draft already that we pulled together. It's actually a great learning experience for some young interns we have working, much like I was when I was an intern working on water mains. And Chris has been a fantastic client and relationship. So I do apologize, but the change order was unanticipated. We look forward to moving forward in the future with hopefully other projects.
Thank you very much. So we're looking at an increase of $8,912.50.
Correct.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'd like to hear from Chris.
Yeah, I just, this account only has a little over $2,000 left in it. So the rest is either gonna have to come out of the main budget, or we're gonna have to ask for the extra money. Somebody else, if we don't have it. I believe Russ is willing to hold it out till the end of June.
We can have the discussion with the contractor. They are very agreeable to work with.
I mean, I could give the 2,000 now and have the remaining balance go out. And at the end of the year, pretty sure I'm gonna have $6,000 sitting there left over, but I don't wanna use it now and not be able to use it if an emergency comes up.
Understood.
And if that's the case, we'd have to go to the district meeting and ask for the extra money.
In the warrant that I approved today, there was a pretty substantial charge.
That was the retainage from that original contract. And once everything was done, we retained 10% of the contract back. And he said that to us yesterday, saying they're ready for their retainage.
And does the town have a deadline? Do they want this work to be completed by?
It's actually, it is.
It's done. Yeah, it's done.
Oh, it's done.
It is done. Correct.
Chairman, another question.
Please.
I guess the other question I have, Chris, if you know, or that's Russ, you know, it says the town of Barnstable required, and it sounds like the additional paving is because the town of Barnstable asked for it. Have we been able to sort of, reference and conclude that is in fact.
I was there at the meeting, when they told them in the very beginning, when they said, well, you're gonna like our trench here and everything else, and he goes, well, he says, you're not gonna like to hear this. But you're gonna have to, replace that trench and overlay to the middle of the road. That's what town hospital does everywhere, you can only do it a certain time of year. You're gonna make it this time of year, and
And I do acknowledge that should have been part of the bid set. And that's also why I was, offering to do some of these additional things afterwards. So that is an oversight on behalf of the engineer.
We approve this.
A second. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I can either take those, these are just draft, if you want to save these, I think it's in the agenda, you want me to?
Sure. Oh, we can take it.
Yes, thank you very much, I know how much everybody gets collecting paperwork.
yeah, we talk about.
Yeah. We wait, approval pending the end of the year.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we'll be good.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Russ.
Bruce, if we need to do anything financially with the treasurer, financial committee, let me know. If you have on the financial agenda.
Yeah. I mean, I can go over budget if I have to, because it's just a guess.
Yeah.
And they can get money at the end if they have to also.
Moving on to the water quality.
All right, we did our monthly, telephone samples came back negative. We did get our results, you might shoot out. Sodium. We might have had these, no, we didn't. They are. Which I'm not really sure why, but it's a fine time of year when we up. Maybe it's because we haven't been getting that much rain, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. So they have been up, and we did our PFAS. And we have detected for the first time, a small amount of station time.
Let me catch up.
Yeah, let's go back to sodium.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the top line,
Go
24.
forward on page.
So we have an average of 28.67.
Of sodium?
Yeah,
So 28.67 at the three tanks, Main Street, West Street and Santee.
right, these are tank samples, so these are finished.
Tanks and taps, yep. The ones in yellow are runoff samples.
But these are our highest levels back to 2019. Right,
Highest levels back to.
if I'm looking at the right column in the average.
Yes.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, they're up there. I was quite surprised.
And what is the trigger for the state? Will we notify?
It's a suggestion.
Suggested.
Yeah,
Is that-
only it's a suggestion, so I mean, all we have to do is tell people in our, consumer confidence report, to talk to their doctor, and have a low sodium diet.
Right. So that goes under the head of the next step. Okay. All right, now we can.
Yeah. But it's not a detection if it's under 2.0. If it's over 2.0, it's a detection. So, we did have 2.17 in Station 5. Q4.
Of Q4.
Yep.
And the new EPA.
It's still underneath the EPA
That's.
regulations, yeah.
So we're good.
And I think relative to what I hear, other water departments in the Cape were on the low side.
For now, we are, for now. We kind of stopped talking about it. Makes me a little nervous all the time. We've got to test it.
So just what about the monitoring well installed,
Tom, yeah, Tom was gonna call me on that.
So who, actually, my question, who does this sample? You do?
Yes.
So you do, I mean, I understand it's pretty.
This is, it's
Pretty
very, well, it's out of our pumping stations, so it's really not too bad. You're still testing for the same thing we take all our other samples from. You turn it on, you take the test, originally you start, you can transfer one over to the other, you put your gloves on.
Yes.
But, you transfer one over into the other and close it down, and that actually just checks to see if there's any plus in the air in the building itself. And then you take a sample out of it, close it up, and put it on ice. It's the three of them, put them all on ice, and pack it in a bag, put it away.
Well, I guess the two questions, why didn't the sample number 4, well, 4? First.
Because I was told, this is from EP regulations, I believe. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 earlier, and where they did not have, hits before. See, there was a no detection 2, 3, and 5 back in, the 18th and 23.
Well, the 18th was, there was a detection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in,
Also,
that's 2023, and that regulated that they wanted me to take the 2 that had detections at a certain time of year, and the other 3 at a different time of year.
Okay. Okay.
And I believe this 411. I'm not sure if it was all stations.
I believe it was.
I have to look again.
So, no detection. And the year previous in April, we had 2 hits.
Well, that was from another test.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think that
that's
was,
from,
The
the
last
EPA. On 20, yeah.
I have 2 suggestions. One is, I think we should sample all the wells every time we sample, regardless of past results, because it's such a big issue. And certainly 4 has showed up in the past. And then secondly, take the monitoring well. I know Tom has been very busy with other projects, and I just run into him on other.
Yeah,
So
Yep.
I think that we should just, politely ask him, if he can't get to this, we should get that well sent.
all right,
That'd be my suggestion, Mr. Chairman, because I think we did find a hit. I think the highest concentration we've ever found has been at that monitoring well.
And that well is located up by Newtown in 28.
Yeah, how do we get?
that's the one that is on Maris.
Yeah, that was that one we did find a hit on pretty high. And we've been talking at least for 2 meetings about getting that resampled. I'm not criticizing Tom because I know he's super busy, but if he can't get to it, let's either.
You think we could find somebody, well, you need a pump. To do
Yeah,
that one,
okay.
a pitch pump, whatever they.
He must have somebody who can to do that.
Um,
You can reach out to Tom and.
Yes, I'll reach out to him again,
Through you, Mr. Chairman, that's what I was thinking, because I think it's important that we stay on top of this.
the other thing, I'm going by this is, done, and I don't know if they have a theory behind the way they do it.
I think we should do more than the state requires.
Every time I do this, I have to send the results to the
I
state.
understand.
So if we could get something all of a sudden that goes above a fluke, it could put us over. That's the only thing.
I think we need to know. I think we should be transparent.
Oh, yeah.
If we find a hit, we need to deal with it. But this isn't the new PFAS, it's a big deal. And we're fortunate that we're below the standard, but we have had hits, so. I think if we're gonna go out and sample the wells, we should do all of them. And I think where we have a monitoring well that did show a relatively high hit, that should be part of our team testing. Now, it looks like we only do this once. Well, actually, the frequency looks like there was a year between 418 and.
Yeah, that's what the state is requiring.
When's our next scheduled round? meetings?
Probably April 2025.
Okay. So I would urge that we sample the monitoring well before that.
Yeah, that's a different, that monitoring well, we can get him in here and,
Okay.
before we tested it for a ton of different things.
And when we go back in April, I think we should do all 5 wells. That's my proposal, Mr. Chairman.
What frequency should we be testing at? What's the minimum frequency?
For
4 times per year?
the monitoring well,
No, for just,
it's just once a year, basically now, we've passed enough that they've knocked us down to once a year to do it. And that's why they have served so many of them in April, and they have so many in,
in the fall.
Yeah, it's fall, yeah.
You're saying next round in May?
I believe it's in, I believe it's March, wait a minute. April, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, so my thought is April of 25, we should sample all five.
Yeah, my next round, then I can sample all five instead of the three, I think,
Yeah,
the two that they wanted to do.
I think we should do all five.
Okay, well, I think it'll be best.
Okay. So we tested 3 times in 2022, once in 2020.
One of these might be because,
We sampled for the class action, so.
yeah,
For the class actions.
one might be from there. And one might also be when we did our, EPA had me do the other stuff, all the other ones that would be us,
P4?
The UNCF.
yeah, not the 6, but the,
UNCF 5.
thank you, see, yeah. You've seen my vibe. So we had none to text any of those, and we did them. Originally from EPA.
How expensive are these test pits?
$300, no?
I think they're 800.
800 now,
I think so.
All in or filled up? Filled up.
yeah,
I think so.
pretty expensive, it was.
Might be.
I can get you better information on us, and everything else, I'll check the sample plan and see when next. Schedule date is at least on.
So just to follow up, Commissioner Robinson, just to kind of clue you in on, we're talking about the PFAS testing. And I'm recommending, we're scheduled in April to go out again and sample, I think, 3 or 4 of the wells. I'm suggesting you do all 5 at that time. And secondly, we've been talking for, I think, at least the last 2 meetings about getting the monitoring well in Meriden Circle retested, because we had a high hit. And frankly, I think Tom's been pretty busy with other stuff, so I would like, I'm really interested in getting another round on that. So I would like to, my suggestion is that we direct Chris to check with Tom, maybe tomorrow, find out his schedule. If he thinks he's unable to do it before our next commissioners meeting, that we find somebody else who can do it. I mean, I don't think Tom would be, his feelings would be hurt if we do that, he's busy.
Yeah.
But I think we need the results, that's my motion, my proposal. I think I want to know more about that motion.
So we need a second.
I don't know, the motion, but yeah, please. I'll make an emotion.
Okay, I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. You good with that?
Yeah, that's not, do you want it just with you, boss?
Whatever we tested the last time, I repeat.
The last time was a lot of testing, I think it was like, $1,300, $2,000 worth of testing.
Meetings, all the PFAS.
Oh, no, they did other things for, nitrates.
And the only thing we found was the PFAS.
Correct. Well, everything had levels of something in it.
I think the focus is on the PFAS.
Okay. That's what I was trying to make sure.
Thank you.
Yep.
You want sodium from those at the same time?
I don't think that's interested in the PFAS there. It's a potential hotspot.
I don't know, spring sodium is gonna be,
Sodium's cheap, so
Yeah, it's
you
cheap.
want to do that?
Yeah, because it'll be after the frozen raw sauce.
Yes, I mean,
Chris, moving on with what?
just still, I had, we did also do, secondary, which was what, Bruce Young was talking about the chloride stuff.
Yes.
And we have low levels, we do have levels, but they're very point level. The NCL is 250, I think the highest we have is 45 or something like that. So we're pretty good on those.
This is just one chloride. Correct, multiple chlorides that were required.
No,
It's chloride in general.
right. And I did though have to notice that our iron manganese is back up again. From what it was last year. It's some of them I've never seen at Station 5, it's a little high, and I've never seen it at Station 5 at the mains. Usually, I don't know if it's because of running it back and forth, not running it as much as we were, or what.
Does it reflect the summer pumping season?
I don't know, it's hard to say because, you know, we took the secondaries of this time, I think last year and they were different. So,
Let me ask you a very layman's question. Does a drought have any effect on concentrations?
it could, you know. The particles might drop, be a little easier, I would say, if you're drawing towards you and stuff like that.
We have no way of
That's all, yeah.
Do we have any way of measuring relative depth of the water table?
Oh, yeah.
Concentrations?
Oh, yeah, yeah, we gotta, we want that, put it, about.
We way down? Right now?
We're not way down, but we are, you know, we're not where we should be. I'd love to see rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're not
But
in,
we're still not as bad as, you know, we've been in the summertime before. It's scary, because we also are not pumping as much as we do in winter. I mean, in the summertime.
at what point do we go into water restrictions? That's a state mandated?
That was all done by, the drought, warnings. Out there, if we go into a level severe or anything like that, then we go into water restrictions.
Got it. Thank you.
We're the only part of the state that's not moderate, so they're.
Correct, right now, yeah,
We're slight, yes.
yeah, we're still a level one. And that is our, what? Right, yeah, looking all over the place. That's water quality.
Superintendent's report.
All right. Superintendent's report. For October 2023, we pumped 10,654,000 gallons of water. In October of 2024, we pumped 14,204,000 gallons of water, for an increase of 3,550,000. Yeah, that's a lot, it was about that last one.
33% jump year on year.
That's clearly the drought.
Yeah,
I mean, that's, we got glorious fall. No, right.
yeah, it's ridiculous, you know, but I guess I'd rather have it now than I would in the middle of summer.
That's irrigation, there, no?
Yeah,
I think we talked about the possibility of getting some plot of rainfall on these graphs, and maybe we didn't. I'm wondering if that still might be possible, because I suspect that is a pretty big driver on this. So maybe, yeah, I don't know, I'm happy to work with you on this.
Good, because they're testing the bounds of my capabilities.
I have a couple of websites where I can look up, you know, historical rainfall. Usually it's a prediction. There are some websites that document.
Yeah,
And maybe we can do is figure out a way to plot.
I'm good at getting the data. I'm
No, I
not as
know.
good at
And so let
plotting it.
me, I'll, Mr. Chairman, I'll just.
It's so well at the high school, you, right?
yeah, monitoring well, yeah.
So aren't there results from the USGS? Online somewhere?
I don't think you can monitor it anymore. I used to.
Rainfall?
Rainfall, I forget, I think it was
Underground,
what?
underground.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a few sites, so maybe there's a way we can plot that on here.
We have our own rain gauge.
I don't think we do, do we?
We have a little cut.
we have cups. That we get sometimes to
I
empty,
used to throw it in.
we give them out in our water conservation kits. Sometimes we use them ourselves.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Consider that.
Yeah, let me look into options. Maybe
Wonder
Chris,
if,
we can,
Actually, you know something,
there's an option.
the library, I was a little bit involved in this, they got a grant. Putting that rain garden back there,
Right,
and they got a grant, there's a little collector there that I think has a rain gauge on it. I don't know if they're collecting the data or not, but that might be one option. I guess that's gonna come back to me to check, right? So I will give a call to the library, rain gauge, see if that's available. They spent, I guess, a pretty good grant to do that, so it'd be nice if I get that data.
If it's there,
Yeah, I'll check,
thank you.
All right, on the association news. Everybody's basically having, meetings right now. There's a lot of, Christmas meetings, I guess you'd say, and everything. Of course, Mass Waterworks has a lot of, classes like this. Let's see, there's also. Sent that out to you guys, apologize. Keeping up with the drug task, the drug task force out there, Jennifer Peterson from, Mass Waterworks sends out an update on it quite a bit. So I'll make a better step forward, and that's up to you guys, the updates again. On the general discussion, we did put into new water services. One of them was on Sanfield Road, a well, somebody bought a house that had a well and put a new town water service into it. And one over on Bay Road needs a new structure. We had one water main leak that took almost all night to repair, over on Bluff Point Road going in.
Is this the linear break that we have? Or
What's that?
this was the linear?
Yeah, like I talked about.
Yeah.
A little bit. Under PFAS litigation. Nothing's really changed, as I got another letter, but I already get the email on it. More time that if you don't sign up, you're not gonna get it in, and we're already signed up. They just keep pushing an extending it out for people who haven't signed, they say. We had our generator maintenance people come out to do the preventive maintenance work at our generators. And we seem to have had a problem with one of our stations. Most of them moved into the generator and they rewire off of the actual generator, and he says it seems to be like a condo. We've had problems in the past. They're with it. This time, they've trashed it to the point where they don't even know if they can fix it. They want to come here and pick it up and bring it back and see if they can actually fix it at the shop. It's either that or get a new one at $80,000. Yeah. And I've talked to our power guy about putting baits down around the property or something like that, like we have a road service at the water department itself, I mean, the pumping stations, because they're metal. They're cement. We never really thought about generators having any problems or anything like that.
So the generators outside the pumping stations on a slab.
Correct.
And it's easy pickings.
Yeah. We've actually had problems with that in the past, we tried to know with chicken wire on every opening that we could find and everything else. We still find that man.
Mothballs is what they recommended.
Yeah. No mothballs in there.
So Fowler is getting put in, they're gonna be getting put in traps.
I've asked them for a quote of going down there to be added to our current maintenance that we have with them.
So does this, so the generator maintenance, they're gonna pull the generator off the slab, take it to their shop, rewire it?
They're gonna see if they can.
They can, and if they can,
They're trying to get a price together for me now, for it.
how old's this generator?
And maybe 15 years. We did this back, we took the money to get them all done. Yeah, so it might have been 20 years ago, but I'd have to look back. The people that did these, we ended up going to the state, fund to get it done. State contract originally.
So what are the,
And there's a metal encasing the generators, and they're 75 kW, and we have the big. They're like the ones you see outside the fire.
what are the mice?
The mice, they're eating, all the red wire and rubber kind of stuff, yeah. Yeah, and building the nest on top of it and going to bathroom inside it, and he said, there's a pond of them in.
So. But only that one never happened to the other.
No, and I think what's happened is that one sometimes doesn't stop when they're exercising it because of the original problem. So if it doesn't get real hot, they're like, great place to live. The noise,
Always something.
yeah, and maybe it's the long grass that's around it, I'm not sure, it's the only one we've ever had problems with. With
Fingers
dogs,
crossed.
yeah. I just wanted you to be aware of that, when you can use it, it's not just throwing at you. The last thing I want to hear is I did email you guys all around, we didn't really talk about it, but the day after Thanksgiving, I can go into road stage to have surgery. I'm gonna be out of work for at least 30 days. Then I got 3 months more rehab after that. Usually, I'll be back hopefully, and within 30 days. I do have a plan, but I'd like to ask you guys, I'm explaining, the guys that are on call 2 weeks in a row, I'll have each one be in charge as they're going through that month, to make any kind of decisions. I'm still gonna have my phone on me at home. Not like I can't answer the phone, I still have a left hand. I'd like to get you guys to vote that Jen can sign on warrants. Sign up on the bills for you guys to, for the warrants. She knows my philosophy on the bills, when they haven't paid, which ones to make sure they match up and everything else. We talk about it every week. So I'm confident that she can sign off in my absence, and you might want to just make that as a standing, so if I'm away ever again, it needs to be done. I know this last year, in October beginning, you didn't do one because I was away in Maine for a week. So even then she could do it, maybe just like a blanket that in the absence of me, that Jen could sign for.
Approving the bills.
Yeah,
I'd be in favor of that. I mean, we continue to approve the warrants.
yeah,
And so there is oversight. I don't think there's anything in the bylaw that would spell that out or prohibit it. So.
okay.
Fair motion.
Second.
So we're voting this.
What's that?
Tell the treasurer we're about this.
Okay, yeah, I can let him know tomorrow in my absence. Yeah,
I would move that we authorize the office manager to sign the warrants, other bills, in the absence of the superintendent. Subject to oversight, we continue to oversight. Fine.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Good luck.
thank you.
Yeah.
Go fast.
I was supposed to get it done in January, but they had an opening come up and some of the Russian embassies happened in 4 months or stuff.
We still have a public hearing.
Yeah, probably better than ever. Yeah, I didn't realize how much recovery it is, 4 months, and then you can't look anything for 6 months. Yeah,
Kind of cuts down on the do list.
you will laugh, I told this to Jen, but I went out and bought a recliner last Saturday, because I don't have it at home. But I couldn't find every single recliner, the buttons are on the right hand side, the levers on the right hand side. So what I had to buy was a remote control recliner that lifts you out of your recliner also.
Deluxe version. Moving on to old business, is that it?
Yeah, that's concludes what I had.
Commissioner Horsley, source water protection test wells.
Yes, sir. So I have a couple of updates here. So as the minutes indicate, I'm now serving as chair of the town's CWMP update committee. We've had 2 meetings.
What does CWMD stand for?
Comprehensive wastewater management plan. Thank you. This is just a background. town filed a plan to deal with the wastewater issues, about 3 years ago. Had it approved by Mass DEP. And as part of that process, it's a 30-year plan to solve the town's wastewater issues. And part of that is every 5 years is a check. See how we doing, do we want to make any changes? So this advisory committee, which is called the ad hoc committee, and by the way, there is a website. Town of Barnstable is called the CWMP ad hoc committee website. And so our mission is to check in at the first 5-year period. Now, as I said, we're about 3.5 years into it, but this is going to be at least a 1-year process. We've had 2 meetings, we're going to meet monthly, we've got another 10, 12 meetings coming up to kind of work with the DPW on essentially updating the plan, make sure it's on course, we want to make any changes to it, etc. So that's the backstory. And what I'd like to kind of report tonight is some things that I think are germane to the Katuah Water District to be aware of, consider. So I'll first refer you to a page in the attached minutes, which is a little hand drafted flow diagram, looks like that. And the first thing I will report is that there is the plan, the CWP plan is primarily a sewer, which extends down Route 28, heading from Hyannis east, right in here in the Katuah. And again, the primary purpose of this is to remove nitrogen. And what they've been finding out is the amount of wastewater that's going to get generated, which is in excess of, I believe, about 3 million gallons per day, is frankly more than the disposal fields can handle. I mean, just on that, either driven by or seen an aerial map, wastewater treatment plant is the corner of 28 and Versus Way, I think is the right address. And there's a bunch of, if you look at aerial, there's a bunch of open basins where the wastewater is infiltrated. It's treated as the ground. And since 1985, according to Mr. Tom Camper's thesis, we've known that those basins actually have a capacity. They can only take so much water, otherwise the water table comes up and starts causing issues. So at the roughly 3 million gallons per day design capacity, there's too much water. So they got to get rid of the wastewater. So DPW has been looking at a variety of options to deal with this. I will say, just for the record, I think they've done a very good job at exploring all the options. One of which was to pump it offshore into Nantucket Sound after it's treated. That didn't pan out because they needed a 40-foot depth of water to get proper pollution, and to achieve that depth required a very lengthy pipe, which was prohibitively expensive. So they've at least temporarily postponed that option. Another option is to treat the water and then put it into the ground. They actually looked at bringing it north up to roughly where the golf course is, and Cape Cod, the community college. And both of those options didn't pan out for various reasons, and I don't know the details as to why not, but those didn't work out. So the next option they evaluated was to put it in the ground and then put some wells in to pump it back out and then move it to various locations, and that gets complicated. So the current option, which I don't want to misrepresent, but is being seriously proposed, is to treat it to a level, add another treatment option, which is called reverse osmosis, to treat it to a very high, and then essentially provide it as drinking water to the Hyannis Water District, which is part of the town now, and possibly beyond that. Now, just kind of for background, the places where this has been done is on the space shuttle, in submarines, and in places like California and other water poor areas where they just don't have enough water, so they treat the wastewater and reuse it. I asked, we had our last meeting on Monday night, I asked, as far as I know, isn't this the first place where we've been proposing to do this? Not because we don't have enough water, but because we have too much wastewater. And I think that is essentially the case here. I think the reason we're considering this is because we're generating more treated wastewater than we can dispose of. Now, to DPW's credit, it's true that the level of treatment meets all drinking water standards. And as they purport, perhaps better than water quality than any water department in the town is producing. So this diagram that I've provided, and this is obviously a hand sketch, which nobody's seen yet, except for you guys. I did this today, but I plan to present another version of this at the next meeting, which will be in 4 weeks. We meet monthly. But I think it's just intended to illustrate kind of the options here to consider. So on the left-hand side is the diagram, essentially what we do today. We have precipitation. Some of that water, about half of it actually, recharges the groundwater. That goes to our pumping wells. We have 5 of them. But we pump that, distribute that to the homes. And then as you can see, the diagram where it goes up to the right, then we create wastewater. Which in our case, if you do it, I think all of it goes to septic systems, which is in the sort of upper center part. And the reason I have the dashed line going back to the left is because some of that is within our zone 2 capture area. So in effect, some of our wastewater is going back into our water system. I would estimate that that is about 10% or maybe a little more of our water supply is wastewater. Excuse me, let me restate that. It's not wastewater. It's water that has gone through a septic system that then gets recharged into our groundwater. So there's a recycle. The alternative, as shown on the right-hand side of the diagram, which is sort of the, I won't say proposal at this point, but an option that's considered, we can take that wastewater and go to the treatment plant to build a sewer system instead of the septic systems. Run it through the treatment plant with reverse osmosis, and then serve that directly back to the homes. So it's a closed system. It's water. Go ahead.
Serving it back to the homes. Is this supposed to be the town?
Well, this is pretty generic. So this is in general the town, but to your point in the question, my quick guess is this could be very different in Hyannis versus here. Because we have different issues. There's 4 water departments or districts in the town, and they each have their own issues. Frankly, I think we're in the best condition for all of them. So my own view on this is that we probably shouldn't, my kind of feeling is sticking with what we're doing now is a better alternative. Unless we find that, there's no alternative. And the 2 options are, as we heard at the last meeting, treatment at the wellhead versus treatment at the wastewater, and then responding to it. Now, when I say treatment, I'm talking advanced treatment for CECs, contaminants of emerging concern, PFAS. We're not there yet, and my proposal was a year or more ago is that I think we should try to avoid that here by doing source code protection and avoid the expense, which I don't know if we have a definitive cost estimate, but it's probably in the $5 to $10 million or more. You had published some stuff on this, Dave, I think, or you mentioned some stuff on this when you met with the town council. It's expensive.
Yeah.
So if we can avoid it by doing treating it well, right? Well,
I think it's really, we saw 20.
We have 20 million.
no,
We would tell them like 5
yeah.
years.
the RO, the reverse osmosis plant, I think I heard is about 70 million for the treatment process itself, which is on top of the MBR system, and then on top of that, redistributing it back. So this it's pretty expensive. But so my first point is just to make us aware, if you guys are aware that this is being discussed as an option. And to your point, Mark, nobody's talking about Katuitt versus the town yet. This is just a general discussion about if we, I think the rationale is if they have to go to the level of treating this at RO reverse osmosis, it is essentially drinking water quality. So why not use it, reuse it as drinking?
It's a community acceptance.
Well, as I've heard discussed, there's three levels. One is technological, and I think the answer to that is we can do it because ask the guys in the space shuttle. They're doing it. So there's no little question about that.
The guys in the space shuttle are close loop, they don't have all sorts of
Right.
land materials, PFAS.
The second one is cost, and it's gonna be expensive. But the third one is social acceptance. And that's, you know, who knows? And my guess is that if there's an alternative not to do this, most people are probably gonna prefer that. Right now, that's where I am.
By doing.
But there's a practical matter. If the DPW is at capacity and versus what? The existing treatment.
Yeah.
And in danger of overflowing.
Yeah,
Groundwater level. That would seem to say that Katuitt's wastewater is not going to get piped back Diana's for treatment at the existing wastewater treatment. That option seems to be off the table.
Unless they went to this reverse osmosis.
Yeah. But Mr. Steen has also said that the engineering challenge of moving our wastewater, what, how many, 7 to 10 months is crazy. So are we facing satellite wastewater treatment in the Western Village?
that is an option that has been considered. But again, I really don't want to speak for.
No, I know, it's running that, but the options would be
Yes,
satellite
Yes.
treatment, IA
yeah,
systems.
yes,
To
yes,
replace all the kind of
Yeah.
labs. Or something like your diversion, which is
Right.
gonna have a lot of social. Okay. All right.
I think the town is, you know, one of their early thoughts is running more than wastewater, more than one wastewater treatment plant is kind of inefficient. Which I get, but I think given some of the other considerations, I don't think it's off the table.
Right.
So that's a possibility. Because frankly, what's happening is if they have too much wastewater to get rid of at Hyannis. So one of the thoughts is if they have to treat it for that high level. And they just throw it away, it's throwing away water that arguably is as good or better than the drinking water that's being served townwide. I think that's the rationale, which makes some sense. I get it. But from our perspective, we're doing okay. And so far, that's why I'm so concerned about the PFAS stuff. As long as we can meet our standards and stay on top of it. And we're in a relatively good position because we're not as urbanized as the downtown water supplies. So for now, I think from our, we draw our black box, we went to it. I don't think we need that.
Well, we've tackled capacity, we've reduced demand 20%.
Right.
And I believe the build out figures show that even with everything into it developed, we're not gonna.
Right.
Knock on wood, we don't lose a well, we need to go develop a new well. That could happen.
Yep.
We've got 20 million in the capital budget for water, wastewater treatment, not wastewater, for water treatment.
Right.
But we're not there yet. We may not have to go there, but we're able to keep levels down. Some we can control, some we can't, like manganese and iron.
Yeah.
But I guess the issue that the district's going to face at some point in the future is, does it expand its scope of responsibilities from fire and water to include its own wastewater? Or does it wait for the town to figure?
Yeah. So that gets me to the second, last item I want to discuss and present, and that's these two maps. So I guess we could look at, close up at the two, or you can look at either or both together. What, and these are fresh off the press, I requested these this morning, and I got, nobody's, I don't think anybody's ever seen these before you guys.
Oh, I could do one. Yeah.
Ah, and I'll share
Yeah,
mine.
I'll do mine and I can pull it up on my, in my email.
So what I asked the DPW to do, and to their credit, they did this about an hour after I asked them to.
It's nice to picture
It is, right? So I'm just public disclosure, I haven't colored the line, but the colored areas on this background of this are the proposed sewer. areas. And there is a key here, which you can read it, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 of the sewer. This is where the sewers are, colored areas. What I asked them to do is overlay the zone 2 areas, which they have not been done before. What I want to see is, which part of the zone 2 is are proposed to be sewer, and the reason for that is, in my mind, the biggest reason the sewer, or one of the biggest reasons, is to capture the CECs, the contaminants of emerging concern. Because we don't know that the IAs can remove that. The IAs can remove nitrogen, which is an estuary concern. But from a drinking water concern, we better not have sewage going in the ground. So we can see, if we focus on the two, we can see that, you know, some of the areas in our zone 2 are proposed to be sewer. In fact, Marinus Circle, I believe, is colored here, right? To the north of the well field. But as you get down into north to it downtown, well number 2, 3, I always forget what number this is. 3, thank you. There's some areas there that are not supposed to be sewered, and they're also not part of 1, 2, and 3. They're in a so-called staged area, which is undefined as to when that might happen. To be determined. To be determined. Yeah, right.
The town has some.
Right. So, maybe just to take a step back, this CWMP, comprehensive wastewater plan, was driven by estuaries and nitrogen removal. But the town made an effort in developing the sewer plan that also addressed zone 2 areas and also lakes and pond areas. But they didn't get all of the zone 2 areas because that was not the primary objective. So back to what we were talking about earlier, if in fact the majority of our zone 2 area gets sewered, I would view that our treatment needs, going back to the CE discussion, are much less. I think we could easily, there's a good chance we could, you know, continue on without wellhead protection doing the expensive well treatment because the primary source is the wastewater. So this is a very, in other words, the committee I'm working on could advise and perhaps get the town council to agree to reprioritize sewering the zone 2 areas. In addition to, or maybe even as opposed to, some of the estuary areas, which probably could be done with the IAs. In those areas, the primary objective is nitrogen.
Right.
So I'm thinking there could be an amendment or a tweak of the CWMP plan to say a little more focus on the zone 2 areas and a little less on the estuary areas, and let the estuaries get solved with IAs. It's kind of my very preliminary thinking. But I'll stop there. There's a lot of information here. This is complicated.
Mr. Chair, I'm hearing 2 different things. I'm hearing it's unlikely that the sewer is going to come out to it in our lifetimes, maybe Jen's. But and the only reason it should come out is to deal with the emerging contaminants that are upgrading of our wells. And then innovative septic systems can handle things outside of the zone two, or nitrogen invadance.
Yeah.
But we don't think it's practical to be shipping our sewage to Hyannis for treatment, so I think the last time you mentioned some kind of package treatment plant for the zone two. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah,
So that's another way to think of it.
that's an option. If we did,
Keep the wastewater into it. Keep the wastewater into it,
yeah,
and just help recharge it, upgrading of the wells,
yeah.
unless it's reverse osmosis and it's drinking like chlorine, and you could just recharge.
No, I think that's a good
But
suggestion.
that, can package treatment plants do reverse osmosis, they need a very big plant, like
They could, but if we find a place to to treat and discharge it outside the zone two. And we do, remember the last meeting, we talked about a location that we own. Now, the other thing I should just digress for a second, there's zone two, and then there's, I'll call it the Camber contributing area. Because remember, we had him model, zone twos are overly protected. I mean, it's a good thing we have them, but on the peripheral areas of zone two, the water's never gonna get to the wells. Because the analysis is so conservative, so that's why we had Tom do a model to show that instead of this area, it's really this area. So I think practically, we could identify an area that could have a treatment plant and discharge, never affect our wells. And therefore not need to go to our level in that cost. And remove a lot of the nitrogen. So I think my guess is there could be some other solutions here, which is exactly the point of the CWMP committee to look at this again, think if there are options. I just want to keep you guys informed of this because I think we can provide some good feedback like that to the group. And by the way, these meetings are all obviously open online. You guys are welcome to attend in your free time. And maybe at some point, it makes sense for us to come as a group. And I'd probably, you do it as chair, and I'm the other chair, and talk about, perspective from the Katuah Water District.
Well, I was gonna suggest that,
Yeah.
that we stay proactive and not reactive on this, because, there's been such a lack of information. And I know, to be fair to the DPW, we've been waiting for this 5-year check-in to update the plan. But there's discussion of the Mass Military Reservation and of potentially approaching Mashpee. Well, if so, who and when will that approach be made? And when will that be taken off the table or opened as an option? There's more questions at this point, and I know that's the purpose of your committee. To try to get those questions asked and answered. So keep us informed, and I will be glad to come
Thank you.
to any call. I watched the last one on Channel 18, and it's amazing the level of expertise that's sitting on that committee with the chair. And
Thanks. And I think this is really just informational tonight, but I think we should stay tuned and I'll try to keep you guys updated. But I think we probably do want to provide some feedback.
That's helpful because I get a lot of questions about it, so I'm
Okay.
grateful for
Yeah.
And
that.
by the way, we could have one, either Rob or they have a couple of people that are more outreach come and talk to us here too. That's another.
or approach the civic association.
Yes, yes, so let's keep that in mind. This is gonna be at least probably a 12-month process, so we've got plenty of time. I'm gonna speak myself for 1 minute, but keep going.
Sure, we'll move on to conservation restriction on school property. I have nothing to report. I will,
I'm sure it's come up in the clerk's office.
I will repeat my inquiries and,
This is one of those things that it's important, it's not urgent.
Right.
Guess what? Suffers at the hands of the urgent.
or at least it's been written and agreed to. I'm just waiting for approvals at the state level.
Well, the state review is important, but, technically, we, as the water commissioners, dealing with land in zone twos. You should review it as well.
Then I'll request a copy of it from the town attorney.
And I think it's fairly standard stuff, but, keeping the field and sports. Whatever, but, you know, there might be some ways to handle. The upkeep of the field and better for the water, I don't know, just things that we should at least have a chance.
Very, very. Enabling legislation update, last Friday was the deadline for letters in support of the amendment filed by Representative Diggs on the fire district's behalf to amend the enabling legislation to allow the Board of Water Commissioners to recommend improvements on private property in the name of source water protection. That amendment is before the legislature's Joint Committee on Local Affairs. Hasn't had its first reading yet. I will keep you informed as the calendar ticks forward on that and it progresses. I don't know if there is any chance that it will make it to a vote, both the Senate and the House, and make it to the governor for signature by annual meeting.
Oh, I would doubt
I would doubt it as well.
it. These are usually handled at the last minute at the end of the session.
When would that be?
Well, typically the summer, and they get things together in the fall, but, yeah, I mean, we're not gonna see.
Well, I think it's great this is in motion, and thank you, Dave, for writing the support letter, because this is nothing we need to do soon. But I think lining this up for options, for example, if we do the private treatment plant, or we do upgrades, having that, regulatory authority, I think would be helpful.
Right, it does give us options.
Give us options.
That is true. Are you finding the communication from the representative's office good, better, and different?
It's great to Carol as a citizen association, but directly to me, not so.
So, we should not assume that everything's just gonna move forward.
Yeah, you need to continue to focus, and it's a matter of phone calls to Representative Diggs' legislative aid.
So we have a relationship.
We do. So the workshop follow-up.
Yeah, I guess, I really appreciate Jen doing the minutes for that and the notes. We had a very interesting session. I guess I was a little, well, I wanted your opinions on what I thought I was hearing was that we need to broaden this and make it a Cape Cod issue instead of a California state issue. And I'm just wondering if that's gonna make it too unwieldy. If we can stay focused with our own or water suppliers, deal with parts to it first. I don't know, I'm just curious about that.
I agree. I think punt it to the regional level or to the Cape Cod Commission. It's just gonna get kicked down the road. Given the superintendent's work on report, and the fact that we have our highest sodium levels in this fall, not even following winter season. There's cause for concern. Now, the problem is that our well fields are fairly close to 28, and that's the state rock. It's Mass DOT.
Yeah, you heard that the state is getting more sensitive about this stuff, but
Yeah.
trust but verify.
So I think, I'm open to suggestion, but perhaps,
What I would like to work on over the winter, and it's gonna take me a while. Draft some bullet points To see if there is consensus of agreement by the other water suppliers in Barnes. That could form a basis of now to the town council, legislature. And, draft it for the DPW, get some comments. But not just us talking to the DPW, it's us talking to the council, because DPW works for the council. The DPW works for management. Works for the council. That's the level that this should be approached, I think, because it is a townwide issue. It involves money. So that's right. But hearing consensus, I mean,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
and if we have success in Barnstable, then we can show it. See if it might be worth it.
yeah, I think Tom's is an honest, well, the backs.
So I'll frame something. Then we can all look at it here first and then. Sort of.
Yeah. Just one suggestion, I thought it was really nice that Bruce came all the way down here with his assistance, so maybe a thank you letter.
I think we did.
Oh, we did do that. Okay, great. Thank you. That's,
I say we,
yeah, good. So that's, I was impressed that they came down.
I was too, I was. Yes. That concludes old business. Moving on to the review and approval of prior meeting minutes. That would be the October 16th regular meeting and the October 23rd special meeting. So you have the other commissioners had a chance to review those minutes.
I have recommend approval for October 16th. And special.
I just have one question on page 2 of the 2016 minutes. It says water management permit renewal currently working with Data and Power. Is that accurate? Remind me the status of that. We just renewing the existing permit for the same flow?
I'm sorry, I'm looking
Sorry.
at the 16.
It says, water management permit renewal, currently working with Tata and Howard.
Correct.
So,
It's been put in, it's in the, it's advertising stage.
and for the same volume?
It's actually a very tiny bit less.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. I just wasn't sure. I don't remember.
we did
that.
some mitigation and, with different points, and got to a point where I think it was 0.64, we said we'll get 0.6.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any matters not anticipated by the chair? Is there any public comment? Hearing none, we will set the next meeting date for December.
I believe both of the senior operators are planning to attend.
Both. Will. Eighteenth. That's the third Wednesday, week before Christmas. As well.
I think that works for me.
It's for me. So, pending, the availability of the two operators, we will do it on the 18th, 5:45 here. Right. We are going to adjourn the public session and go into an executive session to discuss a personnel matter.
We'll do it during your public.
Second.
On better.
Aye.
To read the language in before we
Before we-
You have to read that.
We are going into executive session to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health, rather than professional competence of an individual, or to discuss discipline or dismissal of claims or charges brought against the public officer, employee, staff member, or individual.
I move that we go into executive session for those purpose.
Second.
David. Robinson, aye.
Scott Mosley, and I.
David Gerbuck, aye.